What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Daily Misfire. Today we're doing part 3 of the bodywork, and this is an intro because I forgot to film an intro or whatever ended up happening. It's gone now. So this is what you're getting, the end product. So to kind of give you a little bit of what's gonna happen here. I think it came out pretty good, but if you haven't watched the first 2 parts of this series, the back window of my Nova was completely basically ready to fall out because there was rust all along this window channel, all along that window channel, all along the bottom. It was really bad, and we ended up pulling the entire interior out of the car. We had to fix, there was some rust in the trunk floor, took the trunk lid off, did a bunch of stuff like that, did a whole lot of spot welding, filler welding, used little patch pieces in through the window channels and make it back to bare metal again. It's all 100% solid again, and in this video you're going to watch us make it go from literally bare metal and primer and look like a halfway done car to a borderline complete. And you can do all of this with the stuff in your shop. If you have a welder, if you have a compressor or an ability to shoot paint, you can do this. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys jump in the time machine, and I'll see you guys later. Let's see how bad I can screw this up. And normally with Bondo and stuff, you run, not a ton of hardener. Like that much should do all of that. Okay, that was actually very, very user-friendly. That it laid well, it was slow, the way it hardened, and even with how much I put in it, it seemed to be pretty easy with how much I put in versus how fast it could have gone, because Bondo, normally when you put that much in, sometimes you can almost feel how hard, you can feel how hot it is. And this, it didn't do that. This is some good stuff. Alright, it is day I don't know what at this point of working on the Nova, and this is not going to come out the same week I was hoping it would, but it's because we've been waiting on parts, and Bondo and filler takes a lot of time. So, what we've been doing is I ended up finding, and the sail pedal on that side's really bad too, but this side was way worse. There was a really big low spot right in here, and part of it was because of the lead filler that was in right here, and it might have kind of drooped down a little bit, but as it sits anyway, there's a big huge crease. You can kind of see it in the way there's a crease right there, which I'm not dealing with, but I was already kind of in here, so I just basically scuffed all that down, and we're going over everything. So I need to I've gotten it pretty much smooth. I'm just deciding what to do with these holes right here. I'm waiting on an answer because I'm debating whether or not to just try to see if primer will fill these holes, or if I should glaze it back over again. Probably glaze it back over is the right thing to do. I'm just confirming. But got the channels pretty much taken care of. I probably need to sand this part down a little bit more. This is higher than this, obviously, and you see it make it a little bit smoother. But we got a blocking tool, so block sanding tool. This is a smaller one. That way we can use those guys and just go back and forth over it. and get it nice and smoothened out. And this, like I said, looks really good. That looks really good. We basically just have to do that to all the little spots that I threw filler on. We got to get the hood off because we're repainting the hood too. It'll still be black. It's just not going to be patinaed looking probably. And I got to finish up sanding this side. This side isn't nearly as bad. Basically, we just need to scuff this one more time. Get this corner cleaned out because this is the worst part, was this corner. Get that guy cleaned up, and this side's pretty much done and ready to go. We are very close to having the back window done. I finished pulling the whole carpet out of the car, and I had to wire wheel some of the floor because you can see on that side over there, I ended up having a primer because the heater core went out. And as heater cores do, when they go out, they leak. And it got a little bit rusty on the bottom. There's a little bit of pitting. There was no actual holes, just pitting, which is part of the reason why floor pans always end up getting holes in them, is because heater cores, people don't fix them. Cars leak, carpet soaks in the water, and you get bad holes in the truck, or in the floor. Like the trunk did, exactly like the trunk did. So the Nova's very close. I just need to basically keep sanding, keep primering, probably gloss over 1 or 2 more times, and we should be good to go. Well, I think we're finally to the point where we can start cleaning everything up and start taping for potentially the first coat. So I've gotten this pretty smooth. There's a few little scratch marks in it, but that's probably going to get filled up with paint. This has all been smoothened out. It's all nice and clean. There's now no more rust in the back window. We got all that squared away. I've been sanding, trying to get everything kind of scuffed up around. There's a few little scratches and spots like that. We cleaned that stuff up. So now it is time to start getting everything clean, absolutely positively clean, that we need to get everything off the dash, or this pad right here. I'll probably scuff that up a little bit more too. But it's gonna get ready for this guy. That is a urethane primer that we have to use and prep for the actual single stage paint we're going to be using. So hopefully we can shoot it once or twice with the primer, get it nice and clean, make sure it's all absolutely positively straightest as it possibly can be, and then we'll kind of sand that down a little bit just to get some of the rough spots out of it, and then it'll be ready for paint. So that's the plan for today. I'm going to get that going. Probably throw you guys in the charger real quick, and we'll see how far I get. But yeah, I'm just going to clean everything up, make sure the area around the Nova is super clean, and we'll just kind of go from there. Alright, so like I said, I think I have everything pretty much cleaned up to where it needs to be as far as where we're going to paint and stuff. One thing you need to make sure you get is a set of tack claws, which there is a tacky like wax claws, all this is. But what it does is any little small fibers or particles or whatever, particles that are in the paint are still on the car, even though you blew it off, you wiped it down. It'll still pick up, you can see that. It'll still pick up little particles and things like that. So that way you don't get anything else in the paint, and try to keep it as best or as clean as you possibly can. Is it going to be absolutely clean? No, it won't. You would have to literally, there's a bunch of little, that's sad. I may have to like tape this off right here. We will see. But anyway, you would have to literally have it like in a clean room. You would be doing this in the paint booth kind of a thing, making sure you do it kind of one last time after you do the initial couple passes. See, like that, there's still a little bit of like sand stuff in that, which that would get in the paint and screw the paint up and make it not stick the way it should, and you'd be unhappy. So tack cloths are good. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it right now. I love my car, but it is basically 50-year-old paint, and I'm also stressed about any of the blue tape ripping off paint. So I did the whole tape thing on a lot of it, so hopefully it's okay, but we'll see. Now we have Finish 1 Automotive Refinish Products 2K high, I think it's high strength, so that means urethane primer. It is a gray primer we're going to be using on the car. I need to mix this guy up, and we're going to try shooting it and see how it goes, see what it does. Fingers crossed it does okay. It's also supposed to rain here in a little bit, so we'll try to shoot it and and then close all the doors, let it dry as fast as possible. And hopefully it comes out halfway decent as far as laying where it needs to lay, and we'll go from there. Another thing I wanted to mention before we get too far into it is if you're trying to blend paint, I think this is how he wanted me to do it. One of my body shop friends at Tennessee Coach Works, Sean, he said you fold the tape over. So you grab a piece of tape and you fold it over on part of the edge. So that way when you're shooting paint in where it's folded over, it'll try to get some of that paint will go into that seam. Like if you're just shooting like this normal, it should just want to seep in there and it won't actually like coat into where it's seamed, quote unquote. So hopefully that'll help keep it like this right here. That'll help keep this edge from being this big huge hard edge of paint, because the paint's gonna be a little bit thicker right there. So hopefully we don't have big huge seams in the paint. That side's gonna suck because of some of the weld splatter that got over here. Some of this big huge weld splatter, so we're having a big square, so it'll really test that idea right here. So I guess we'll find out. But this whole package tray, I mean, all of this is gonna get shot, so that's not that big of a deal. This is all getting shot, that's all getting shot. That back top part is getting shot, so that's not that big of a deal as far as the paint itself needing that lip on it. This kind of stuff, there's gonna be a hard edge, and like over here is gonna be the biggest part right here. But like I said, it's gonna probably just seam in there, and there's still not a ton of gap right there. It's a 50-year-old car. Original paint car. And if you look on the front end of this car, we'll have to show it out in the sunlight, but there's about 32 different colors of blue, and they tried to fade it in because the original owner, her son got in a car accident and he drove into a pole, I think, learning to drive, and it kicked all the front end in and they ended up having to redo everything. That's part of the reason why there's this big huge dent right here. And if you, like I said, if you look out in the sun, I'll try to see if I have a good picture of it to show it, but you can kind of see it right there, how there's that blue right there, and it just kind of seams in. Not a bad job, it was probably done in the 80s, but still 30 shades of blue throughout the whole car. So yeah, with that being said, wish me luck mixing paint, and hopefully I do a good job, and hopefully the paint doesn't go all over the place, and we should be good to go. Okay, so first coat down. I put it on pretty dry. There's a little bit of crap in it, but as to be expected for the first shot to go through at least. And then we'll sand it all back down real quick. We'll let it get really dry, and then we'll sand it, and I'll shoot it again. But for the first coat, you get to really see what all you missed, and I think it looks pretty dang good. Especially where I was doing all that sanding. Where all that filler is right here, you can hardly tell. I think that's pretty good. I'll take that. If you look at it right there, you can see a little bit of a wave. But hey, there's no rust in the back window anymore, so I'll take that as a win. But yeah, I'll let this dry really good, and we'll go from there. But I think my tape job did a pretty good job as far as keeping everything covered and protected. We didn't get anything on this, did we? Nope. Nope, that's all nice and clean. Down here we're all good. Yep, we're all good down here. Anything like that we can wax and get it off. So I think that's pretty good for a first shot. And being like the 4th time I've used a gun, I think it's pretty good. I'll take it. Yeah, we'll definitely take that. I'm probably doing stuff wrong. If I'm doing something wrong, please comment it down below and tell me what I need to do to improve, because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't. I should have a paint booth. I don't. I should have all this stuff together. I don't. And I really should have it outside and move everything, get it somewhere else, but the issue is it's gonna rain today and I can't push it back in by myself. So yeah, I really need to get it running. Maybe I'll put a battery, like do a hot setup for the battery or something, and just try to like make it run just so I can drive it in and out of the shop to paint it, to work on the paint. I don't know, we'll see. But I'll leave you with that for right now. I'll catch back with you guys in a little bit, but I think that's a pretty good first primer. So we'll start there and go from there. All right, so we have about 3 coats of primer on it right now. And there's one issue that I found that I think I figured out, or I asked questions from a couple other people and got my answers. So now I just have to figure out how I can do it. So you can kind of see where it's a little bit darker in the camera. I don't know if it's going to pick it up very well, but it kind of has a bed liner look to it right here. And I didn't know what that meant. So I asked one of my friends, and he said basically that just means the paint was dry, or it was shooting not enough paint and it was too much air, vice versa, however that goes. There was not enough paint going on in the car, so that's pretty just like speckle kind of a thing. So I need to sand it all back down, which I started doing on that side. Yeah, I'm gonna get all this stuff scuffed back down, knocked back down, I'll probably shoot one more coat of primer over it, and then we'll scuff that guy back down, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully today I don't know, today might be the day to try to shoot at least a small part of the primer, or the actual paint on it. We'll see. I don't know. I'm going back and forth because it was like $200 for that paint, so we'll see. Alrighty, so we got the tape off that we need to get off, so now I'm going to get a spray bottle, some water, and we're going to try to wet sand as much of it as we can, try to get this. There's a little bit of a lip right here. We'll try to get that lip knocked down. We'll get all of the little rough imperfections that you can kind of see, like this kind of stuff. We'll get all that stuff out. We'll get it all kind of nice and flat and straight. Hopefully we can get the blue to blend more kind of like how this is blended in. Hopefully we can get it to do more like that instead of like a line like that is. But I think we're very close. I don't know if I'll be shooting today, but we might be. That'd be really good. Yeah, like that one. That one was a really good example how it's dusted in there. Hopefully we can do that with it. So, but yeah, I'm excited about this. This should be pretty good. I didn't completely suck doing that, so I will take it. 100% take it. Alright, well, as you can see, I spent a little bit of time wet sanding. We went through about a bottle and a half and a couple of different pieces of paper. It's not perfect, but for what we're doing, I think this is going to be really good. There's obviously a little bit of a lip, but it's really hard to tell. And hopefully we can wash all this stuff off, get it cleaned up, and then get it to a spot to where we can retape everything, get it all cleaned up, retape it, and fingers crossed, shoot it and it doesn't look half bad. So I'm going to rinse everything off right now. We're going to get all the tape and all the paper off of it, and we're just going to wash, probably just redo everything. It'll just be easier that way, and that way all this is cleaned up and there's not any paint, sanding, residue on anything, and it's all nice and clean and nothing will get messed up, and it'll be good for a long time, hopefully. So fingers crossed. Hold on to your butt still. If you've let go, jump back on it. That's what she said. And yeah, we'll go from there. Hopefully, like I said, we'll get most of this out of it and cleaned up. There's a little bit of a wave right here I might have to come back and get, but it's really not bad. That side, honestly, the worst spot in the whole car from the paint was right here where it got a little dry. When I said, like what I was talking about, there was too much air in the line. It's right here, but hopefully there's not enough cracks really right here for it to really matter, and hopefully the paint that we got will fill that in. So it's really small and it's smooth to the touch, so it's not that big of a deal. But okay, let's wash all this stuff off. Okay, I think this is what primer is actually supposed to look like. Tech tip: put a regulator on your paint gun, and don't be an idiot like me and just shoot it just raw, whatever your air compressor does, because that makes it really stupid and lame. This was shot at like 40 to 60 psi, which is the green in my gauge, so I assume that's where I need to be spraying. That's the worst thing I think I see of this whole thing, because that paint came up, or that tape came up, and there's a few little spots right there. Otherwise, this last spray of primer is looking very good, and the reason why we had to spray another thing of primer is there was some spots in the sail panels that, namely my mother, who's been the head of the whole bodywork on the car, who's been the whole head of the bodywork on the car, she basically said, we need to try to get those a little bit better because you're going to be disappointed otherwise. So I agree with her. This looks much, much, much better. So, and I think I did a much better job laying paint down. There's a few little spots I think we need to address. And I don't know if we just need to shoot another coat of primer on it. We might do that tomorrow. Or if we just need to wet sand, put some spot putty on it, and then shoot it. I don't know. I guess we'll see what we think about it tomorrow in the sun and we get all the tape off. But I think it looks mucho better. So I'm stoked with this. This actually makes me very happy. I'm happy with how it looks right now. And hopefully, fingers crossed, everything works when we need to get it done. We'll get the car back together and painted, at least, get the paint done, and we don't have to tape or do any more body work on the car by the end of this week. So I'll work on getting like the interior. I might work on getting the interior primed tomorrow too, because I need to shoot like the headliner and stuff like that. So I need to shoot inside the car, need to get the sail panels painted, and do some other stuff like that before we actually shoot the outside, because that's the last thing I need to do, is, you know, paint the whole car blue and then screw up at the paint by, you know, shooting overspray of primer or something stupid from the inside. That would not be good. So I'm also delusional because it's 11 o'clock and I've been out here all day working, and paint fumes are probably getting to me. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hopefully the next thing you'll see is us doing the actual, we'll be probably wet sanding it and getting it baby smooth, and then you'll see paint. So see you in a little bit. Okay, well, it's been a little bit of time. I don't know where exactly I left off, but we've done a lot more wet sanding. I don't know if we need to shoot one more coat of primer on it right now, but I wanted to show you. We've been using a lot of spot putty. So use spot putty for tiny little pock marks and stuff like that in the paint. Kind of like along here, there's a bunch of scratches in the paint from the old original paint, not this part, but the actual old paint had dents and like divots in the paint. So use those because you don't want to sand those down because it'll make big huge divots, and basically it would make it to where you'd have to do the entire panel. So instead of doing that, you just use a little bit of spot putty, and that's why it looks like, you know, it has like chicken pox or something. I'm going to let all this dry. I'm going to wet sand it again. We've gotten the thing pretty much totally baby smooth, so I think we're really close as far as that goes. I'm probably going to wet sand a little bit more. We'll see what it looks like, and I may just end up, maybe today, even we may be shooting it blue and see what it looks like. So stay tuned for that. But I just wanted to show you another little thing that we're doing with the bodywork stuff. This is, again, you know, if you're building a $30,000 paint job, bodywork and stuff like that, you don't use spot putty like this. But if you're fixing a car like this is, if you're fixing something, this is how you would do it. I mean, obviously, if you're actually doing the bodywork, you're just gonna, you know, media blast the whole car. You're gonna sand it all down. You're gonna get it nice and level and flat. You're gonna get all the bodywork done to where the body and the metal itself is all nice and shaped. You're gonna get all the little yups that are right in here, because you can kind of look. There's a little bit of a dent right there. There's a little bit of a dent right there, and that is from the factory molding. That's nothing we've done. That's nothing anyone did during this car's, you know, 50 years of life, 60 years of life, whatever it is at this point. It's just, that's what happens with these cars when they came out of the factory. They get nice little warps, and that's why we ended up having to do the entire sail panel. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's a lot flatter than it used to be. I don't know if you can see on this one as much. We didn't fix this one as much, but so there's still a little bit of a yup in that one. But yeah, so this one's gonna be, well, it'll be interesting to see how different it is, and it'll be interesting to see what the paint ends up actually looking like comparing this to this. So but yeah, so I'm gonna probably, I don't know, I'm going to at least wet sand it a little bit more. We're going to see where this comes out at. I'm going to wet sand a little bit more on the rest of the car. And then I'll wash everything off, and then we'll kind of see where we're at. Because it'd be really cool if I can get some blue on it today. That would make me very happy. And hopefully we can get like the back window in. And I'm going to work on probably painting the inside of the car too at some point in the next little bit. I'm going to get some of my black, just my regular can black. I'm probably going to just brush it in, because that's the easiest to do with that. So I might even use a roller. We'll see. But yeah, so that's what we're doing right there. And we'll see kind of what this comes out looking like, and we'll go from there. Alright, the moment we have all been waiting for, it is time to actually paint this thing. So I have it taped off. We did the sticky to tack cloths. We did that again. I did a whole bunch of spot putty on all the little tiny things that we saw. Now it's time to put this on the car. So that is obviously not mixed. This is a single stage urethane from Sherwin-Williams. It is a Sunfire Pro brand paint. And like I said before, he actually mixed this while I was there. The store manager mixed the whole thing while we were there. And this is 12 ounces of it. This is going to be a 4-part to 1 part of the activator. That's the activator, right? Yes. And then this is the reducer right here. And this is going to be 3-part. So it's going to be 4-part, 1-part, 3-part. And I just have to figure out how to... I have to do math. This is the most math I've had to do since high school. This just tells you kids that you don't need math. You don't need algebra. You don't need that. You just need simple addition. Simple addition and know how to, you know, measure cups and ounces and milliliters. Once you know that kind of stuff, you're pretty much good. Anyway, I'm going to mix this up real quick and we will get this in the gun and we will walk over there and hopefully we can shoot this thing and it doesn't look half bad. So hold on to your butts. I'm very nervous, but we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. come to you in a partly defeated position here and slightly upset past. But saying that, here's the car right now in all of its glory in fancy blue. So Like I said before, this is Nassau blue with a little bit of a touch up from the guy, and I think this paint difference as far as the color wise is mostly just fade, and the fact that the blue on the car itself, like the actual factory blue, it still has a little bit more silver I think in it, and this has a little bit more green, which I've mentioned that before. And I don't hate this color. I think it doesn't look bad in the camera. I don't think we'll pick it up, but there is a little bit of orange peel in it, and I don't know what happened, but there was a lot of stuff got in the paint, and I mean partially it's summer out here, door was open, so there's bugs and stuff, so a little bit of that happened, but there was a lot of holes or caves or whatever they call them, and there was a lot of fish eyes and stuff in the paint. So that was kind of an upsetting thing, but the paint itself isn't bad. I mean, honestly, if it shot itself halfway decent compared to what it should have been, it's actually a decent color, and I probably wouldn't have hated it as much as I'm upset with it right now. But it's just one of those things that's just... So let me introduce you into the world of Colin and into my scary brain. Right now, I'm thinking we did what we needed to do. What we wanted to do, we've done. We've sealed up the car. We've sealed up where it was... We've sealed up where it was rusted. We've fixed the rust. We've done all that. We've primed it, painted. The body work itself is actually really good. It's very straight. For what it is, it's very straight. Everywhere we've touched all this stuff, aside from the fact that you can see, you know, bugs and, you know, fish eyes in the paint. Tech tip, use fish eye remover and dent, whatever it's called. There's an additive that you put in the paint, and it basically helps prevent all that. I didn't have any. I didn't think about it until literally I shot the first coat and I went, this is unfortunate. I should have bought some of that. So there's one of your tips if you've watched this far. First off, thank you. But second off, make sure you have, if you're trying to shoot stuff like this on your own, make sure you have that kind of thing. But as I was saying, how much different the paint is, and you can see where my primer messed up, where I screwed up taping. So, but saying I screwed up, I did the whole feather tape thing, and it's actually really smooth right through here. Tape feather part where you roll the tape on itself, see how that's kind of rolled up? I did that, and where it's rolled, it's actually a nice smooth transition, and where I did it correctly, it actually blended pretty well. So if you wet sanded this right here, it would actually look really good. I'm just not a paint guy, so I screwed up in a bunch of places because that's what's going to happen. And again, this is like the first real car I've ever really painted. I painted my S10, practiced before. I shot the bottom of it just kind of quickly. I've shot my trailer and I shot the hood. Those are the three things that I've really painted in the world. So I think for third time ever really trying to paint something, I don't think I did that bad of a job. Saying that though, I would like it to be better. I don't like this color. I think it's too green. In my head, it's too green. It's too 90s blue teal color to me. And it's probably off, but that's kind of where my brain goes when I see it. Okay, so some time has passed now. It's been a couple of days. I had to order a few things, including this wax and grease remover from Duplicolor. There's a bunch of different kinds. I was basically just told just get, you know, a decent one. And so what's going to happen is this is, instead of using acetone to go over everything, that's going to be a actual good. It's going to remove oils, grease, wax, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go over it with one of the tack cloths again, and then I'll go over it with that a couple of times. So we're going to go over that once right now, and then right before I go to shoot the paint again, I'll go over it one more time. But we got all the sanding back done. It looks like it has chicken pox again, but that's all the spot putty that I put back into it just to fill some of the little holes. And then we sanded it all back down. I started with like 300 or 320, then I went from 320 to 400 to 600, I think is what I finished with. So it's pretty good. There's a few little, might be a few little spots, but at this point, I've come to the conclusion, like I mentioned before, that we're gonna do whatever this needs to happen. As long as the paint looks halfway decent on this, we're just gonna run it. If it's bad again, we'll just scuff it back down and it's gonna look like this in the back end, and we're gonna send it. But if it looks halfway decent, we'll just run it as is for right now. And then at some point in the next about year or two, we'll actually like go through it and we'll do a lot of body work on the car and get the car looking straight. And then we'll shoot the whole car Marina Blue again. Because this is, what is this color? I think this is Nassau Blue, I think is what this is. So, it's just a pretty color. It's just not Marina Blue. So I'm very particular with this car when it comes to that kind of stuff. So with that being said, we're gonna grab the tack cloth. I'm gonna wipe it down real quick, do that, hit the grease and wax remover, and then I'm gonna make a little house to keep bugs out of here. So it's gonna be a little bit of a Rube Goldberg design right now, but I'm gonna make it look, I think, hopefully keep bugs out, keep crap from flying into the paint, and hopefully we can make it a little bit better, and then we'll tape the car up and we'll go from there. So I think that looks pretty dang good. Out in the sun it looks really good, and you'll see that in a future video, but I need to let it cure. I'm going to let it sit out in the shop for a little bit. I'm probably going to sand it with 2500 or 3000 or 4000 and try to get the last little bit of little toppy part off of it, and then I'll buff it all down. But we're not painting the hood anymore. We were talking about painting the hood, but we ran out of paint when we had to redo this with like basically 5 coats in the back of it after sanding it down. But I think it's weird. This one came out a lot more blue. I don't know what happened. If you're a paint guy and you know what kind of happened, let me know. I'd like to know. I'm interested. But yeah, so we got this done. I ended up striping a little bit more up here, just to try to get rid of some of the scratches and make sure we got everything. The back part looks really good. I think that the Dutch panel, whatever it's called, there's still a few, you can see there's still a few fish eyes in it, but there's a lot less of them than there were before. And like I said before, this is all about getting rust fixed and getting the back of the car blue again, so when you look at it, you know, from right here, it looks good, and it's all nice and shiny again. And at some point in the next year or two, we're going to paint the whole car. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you learned something. I definitely learned a lot during this video, so hopefully you learned something too. I'll probably combine all this winter and have like a full, you know, how to fix your back window rust in your car. This is by no means the right way to do it. This is not the wrong way to do it either. This is a, you know, if you need to get your car back together, you have a welder, you have parts, you have, you know, access to an air compressor, you can do all this. You can paint with a Harbor Freight gun. I got the paint from Sherwin-Williams. We did a bunch of stuff like that, and I mean, spend time sanding, spend time doing body work with, you know, things. I mean, but less than $1,000, we fixed the back window and put paint on the car. Honestly, from a driver's standpoint, you know, a race car thing, you know, in the dark, I stand back, you know, I stand back here, you can't even really tell. So, I mean, I think we did a pretty good job, especially at night when you roll up and you do a big smoky burnout in the car. I think it'll look good. So, and at some point we'll fix things like that dent right there, like that guy. We'll make the hood blue, And hopefully in the next video or next couple videos, you'll see us putting seats in the car. So, like I said before, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow along as we keep doing more hot rod stuff to the Nova. Shout out to Everlast for building a killer welder. I think it's really cool. They haven't sponsored us at all. I just want to give them a shout out. I've used to Miller welders and stuff like that from like the 80s, and so having something that has a digital readout on it's pretty cool. Shout out to Sherwin Williams too, for helping out with the paint, helping out with a little bit more information, and then Tennessee Coach Works, my mom, my wife, and a bunch of other people. Thank you. Now that being said, I'll see you guys later. Be sure to check us out very soon because there's a lot more going on in the Nova. More than just paint and interior. We got engine stuff to do too. So, see you then.